Welcome to this month's Around the Table conversation. Each month, Zoweh's women's team, the Deepening Community, invites women everywhere to join us for a Zoom call. And in these calls, we talk about conversations of the heart. These are topics that matter deeply to us as women. Each month, we start the conversation with the team sharing their insights on a topic. And then the second half of the call, the women on the call have an opportunity to respond and connect with each other on the topic. Tonight, we are talking about soul rest. Do you feel weary and in need of recovery for your body, soul, and mind? I know I so often do. So let's listen into the team and hear what they have to say about how they find soul rest in their lives.
Welcome to the Deepening Community Around the Table Zoom. And tonight we're going to talk about soul rest. But first, happy birthday, Robin.
Thank you.
How was your day? How are you coming in?
How am I coming in?
Yes, how was your day?
It was a beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed running errands and being at home and being with the puppies on long walks and sitting on our deck. And it was sunny and warm and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And on my birthday, it's almost always cold and raining. Almost every single year, like clockwork, my birthday is cold rain. So today felt like such a gift. Yeah. So I loved it.
That's awesome.
Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
How are you
The
coming
day
in?
is for you. How am I coming in?
Yeah.
No, I feel pretty good. Lots of details, getting lots done. It was great to have some good dedicated time in the office today with Maggie. We got a lot of things covered, getting ready for the deepening weekend.
Yay.
So yeah.
1 week from today.
1 week from that's what
That
we'll
just
be
made my stomach flip-flop a little bit.
I know.
Ah,
It is coming.
yep, it sure is.
And it's going to be good.
It's gonna be awesome. So Dana, how are you coming in, friend?
I am coming and I am so happy for this weather. I had a really nice
Mhm.
walk with Oscar today too, and there's horses on a property near our neighborhood, so we go out and look for the horses every day. But I love that the trees are starting to flower and just the gift of spring and what spring speaks to my soul. It feels like a thawing is coming. I love this time of year.
Yeah.
So I'm coming
Yes.
in happy tonight for this.
I love that.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like there is, when you said a thawing, don't you feel like there's this tiny little window between frozen and pollen that
Yeah, don't say
I
pollen.
want it to last 200 days, but it feels
Right.
like 20 minutes to me. It's never long enough,
Right.
but it's right now.
And then we get that moment where the snow or the ice comes in and washes away some of the pollen. Because I know we had a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't know. I don't know how to dress in the morning anymore.
Layers.
Layers, yes.
So Maggie, how are you coming in, friend?
I am coming in expectant, just really excited for next week. And all that it's really a week from today, but like Sherry was saying, we're just every day is lovely and jam-packed. But so excited. And we would love to know how you guys are coming in tonight. So if you could put in the chat how you are coming in. And I am going to be the queen of the chat tonight and putting links in there. And if you have questions or anything, or just want to chat in there, that I will be in there with you. And we are recording the first part of this for YouTube and social media. If you haven't made sure that your name is accurately you, not your husband or your boss or somebody else, half the time I jump on and I'm actually Sherry and Robin, who I'm not. And if you would like to add the city and state where you live to just kind of help us make connections of like, oh, you live near me, let's connect. Do that. And yeah, Sherry, how are you coming in tonight?
I am still coming in. Just super excited for next week. But I was thinking about the fact that every Sunday night for the last 2 months, the strategic I team, the intercessory prayer team, the I team, we've been getting together on Zoom every Sunday night since the beginning of February after the Super Bowl. and just praying through every facet of the deepening
Mhm.
weekend, from the facilities to the talks to just everything, the guide team, what we're experiencing, to the women who are coming, because we know how opposed this is. We
Mhm.
know our home fronts need this kind of covering.
Mhm.
So it was interesting because on the last call, one of the women in the course of our conversation brought up soul rest.
Yeah.
And she shared she went to wherever she went, Concordance, Greek dictionary. I don't know where she went, but she got the Greek root word for soul rest. And I wrote it down, and it may not be right, but Anapauo means to rest. And forgive me if that's mispronounced. And she shared that the definition is to cause or give permission to cease from any movement or labor in order to recover and collect one's strength. To give rest, to refresh, to give oneself rest, to keep quiet, of calm and patient expectation.
That's good.
And when she read that, there was a collective sigh on the call. And we just knew that we had to talk about it tonight. And as I was thinking about it, there's Matthew 11:28-30. And we share this a lot when we come up to the deepening weekend, because it's really our heart for the deepening weekend. And that says, are you weary, carrying a heavy burden? Come to me, I will refresh your life, for I am your oasis. Simply join your life with mine. Learn my ways, and you'll discover that I'm gentle, humble, and easy to please. You will find refreshment and rest in me. For all that I require of you will be pleasant and easy to bear. And so, I don't know, what does that look like for you, Robin? What does soul rest look like for you on the day-to-day?
Well, I really love that, in order to recover.
Yeah.
I know she quoted that on Sunday, but I don't remember hearing that. Like I
Mhm.
just heard it this time when you said that, but it's like we need real rest in order to recover. And that's something to think about. But yeah, when I consider where my soul finds rest and what it feels like to experience soul rest, I just automatically think of Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes and restores my soul. And in the Message version, it says, you let me catch my breath. And I love that, because we're learning a lot about breath and to catch our breath. So I had like I said, the privilege of working from home today. And so I went on several walks today with the dogs. And we live in this neighborhood. It's a neighborhood with houses, but we live at the end of a cul-de-sac that backs up to all these woods, like acres and acres and acres of land that does not belong to us, but we pretend it does. We're the only ones back there. And it's just beauty, right?
It's like Narnia.
It is like Narnia. When it snowed, whenever that was, it was like Narnia. And right now in the spring, it's beautiful because things are blossoming and blooming, and
no snakes yet.
No snakes yet. I know. So it was such a gorgeous day today. And it felt like such a gift to me. So this morning, to be honest, I was really feeling anxious as we're approaching the deepening weekend and all that is still yet to do, all that's on my plate still yet to do and to prepare for. And so I went on a walk, very aware of that I needed soul rest. My soul really desired and longed for refreshment and rest. So on the walk, I just was really aware that I chose to be present and pay attention and be aware of everything around me. So I left my phone and didn't think about my to-do list, and just to fully enter in. And I mean, I was able to just breathe in the fresh air. It felt so good. And even just taking a deep, slow breath, how that slows us, slows our heart rate, slows us down. And I just felt the sunshine on my face coming through the trees and just got a smile on my face. And then I heard this is a thing. And so I try to do this. I go and I put my hand on a tree and just thank God for the tree and look up at it and wonder what kind of tree are you? I have no idea what kind of tree, but it just is a grounding and acknowledging like what's around me and aware of what God made and the beauty that he made. And then as I walked, we kind of turned this corner and there's a stream back there. And you know what I'm talking about. And just to hear the water as it went over the rocks, again, just brought such a smile. And I paused and took another deep breath. And I thought, he leads me beside quiet waters. And it just calmed me. And then I heard the birds singing and watched them fly, just stopping and noticing, just all of it just felt restful to my soul. But I was putting myself in the way of beauty. I was experiencing stillness. And what I felt was, it was like my soul was both being awakened and beginning to rest. And that felt really good. It felt like it was expanding. My soul felt like it was expanding and resting. It was just this really beautiful thing. But I also found that my soul just felt automatically drawn to God in that space. Isn't it amazing how nature invites that?
Yeah. And it seems like what you described sounds whole body.
Yes.
You know, it was the sound, it was the smell, it was the touch of the tree, it was the sun on your face.
Yep.
So it invites your entire body.
Yes. Which made me think of how this is body, soul, spirit. We are body, soul, spirit, triune beings made in the image of a triune God. And this whole experience is very holy and invites us to rest. And so it makes me think, as an introvert, I love when I read in scripture that Jesus would pull away to rest and to tend and care for his soul and body, all of it. But so often it says he went away to a mountain to be with God. And Mark 1:35, it says, very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up while it was still dark. Got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. So he left the building, went out, and he invites us to do the same, to pull away and to be with him. Sometimes it can be to a mountain. Sometimes it can be into the woods by a creek. And sometimes it's in my messy office in the mornings with coffee. And in those early mornings, so this is what it looks like for me when I'm not outside. So soul rest for me in the mornings, I ask, what do I need right now? What does my soul need? What would feel like it would be nourishing to my soul? And that's what I do in the mornings. And it feels kind and it feels gentle and it feels embodied, like you said, body, soul, spirit. And it's a way of being present to the spirit, my spirit present to the spirit. And so we're learning.
I was going to say, that sounds acknowledging and inviting.
Yeah.
Like you're not just sitting there waiting for something to happen, but you're actively waiting and inviting.
Yep. Which is similar to this contemplative practice that we've been learning. That is a way of allowing my body to rest, allowing my soul to rest, where normally I would have found, not have found my whole life. I will sit and talk at God. I will talk. Here's a list. Here's all my stuff and the cries of my heart. And that's fine.
Check.
Right. Oh. And that's fine. But I'm learning a new way of listening and being still. And I realized the other morning that my body rests easily, but my soul does not. And literally that just dawned on me. I thought I'm a 9. I'm good with rest and peacemaking, but I need to have that peace
Mhm.
because my soul is not typically at rest. And so
Mhm.
Psalm 22:3 makes more sense. He leads me beside still waters. He makes me lie down in green pastures, but we get to join him in that. So
Mm.
that's something that, and I'll say one more thing and then I'll give somebody else a turn, but I'm finding this practice that it's helping me to be able to access a restful way of being in my soul, like that time in the morning with
Mhm.
Jesus, and being able to more easily return to that on those days when it's cold and rainy and I can't go for a walk, or
Mhm.
when I don't have the margin to just sit and read a book or have the space to do anything much.
And it sounds like you have more access to what you're feeling and what you're thinking and what you need
Mhm.
when you take that time and you
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
You're asking him.
Yes. So it's like I'm learning the rhythms a little bit more,
Mhm.
beginning to learn the rhythms of his heart and my own,
Mm-hmm.
both,
Mhm.
and which is sweet. And I'm have a far ways to go, but
It's a practice.
yeah,
Right. That's why we call it
Yeah.
practice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. How about you, Dana?
I love that it's called a practice. I love that that's what we're being told in the practices that we're practicing, because honestly, when I go to try to be silent, sometimes it's a successful morning and I feel like I've really been met by God, and other times I feel like I'm batting away all the things that are on my to-do list and I have a hard time. And but to walk away saying, you know what? I get to return to this at any time that I want to today. It's a practice, it's a lifelong journey, and that just feels so good.
Mhm.
That sounds like freedom.
It does sound like freedom. And I too love the walks. And there's in my new neighborhood, there's all these trails that are by creeks and through the woods, and rocks that invite me to come and sit on them. And I have been I'm like, Lord, what do you have for me out here today? And so I found a little nest one day. So I have this little wooden canoe that I've been collecting things that Jesus gives me when I go on my walks. Heart-shaped rocks, even old, I think they're daisies that are all dried up and there's nothing left but the center on their spindly sticks. And so it's just been sweet. But when I think about soul rest and how I used to approach it, I would think of going on vacation or
Mhm.
having a pajama day and watching movies or reading my favorite book. And those are ways to rest our bodies and to rest from work, but there's more, I'm finding out. There's more to soul rest. There's a deep, cleansing, broadening soul rest that God is inviting us to, that it doesn't it's not about busying or more input, I guess. It's not about more input. And in the culture that we live in, it's so noisy and it's so challenging to get quiet and to have our being become quiet. So what this is looking like to me these days is getting up before the sun and letting my dog out, and the stars are still up and the moon is up and the sky is indigo, and coming in with my cup of tea and lighting a candle and watching the sky lighten and just being quiet and inviting the voice of God to speak, not my to-do list or not what's on my heart heavy, although I do that too, but just the space. God, what do you have to say to me today? How do you want to make yourself known to me? And to just sit. And it really is ceasing from all activity. It's challenging because I'm such a thinker and I'm such a list keeper. Um, but it's been a really great practice. And I feel that what it's created in me is spaciousness.
Mm.
I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but I feel more spacious. And I feel, like you said, Robin, that I can return more easily to that place, having practiced a little bit. So that's what soul rest these days feels like to me. And I just want more of it.
Yeah.
How about Maggie? How about you?
I would say, I'm jumping on this and I have to pin myself for a video. I would agree with you so much, Dana, in just the quieting of my mind can be so hard. And just not even my mind, but my physical space. And I also love getting out and taking walks because it forces me into nature. And Robin, there's a huge oak tree in our neighborhood that I go up and I touch, and I love looking at it in the seasons as we're in a new place. And so I get to see it for the first time in the seasons. Yeah, so quieting myself is hard. And Dana, gosh, when you were talking about I love the way you use words, but as you described your morning and the indigo sky and just the quiet and it was just so inviting the way you spoke that. And it just makes me go, okay, I'm getting up extra early tomorrow. I normally get up like my daughter's already awake and she's almost waking me up. Come on, mom, like get me ready for school. And so it just invites me to change up my time and enjoy that super quiet in the morning at my house. But for me this week, when Sherry and Robin asked me, what do you think of soul rest? Like what comes to your mind? What popped in my mind, I was listening to a man earlier this week talking about the difference between performing for God and enjoying God. And I think a lot of times he was just so passionate about it. It was beautiful. I think a lot of times the easy answer is my quiet time in the morning. And historically, when I was younger, that was like reading the Bible, check, 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 praying for all my people, check, check, check. And it's inputs, but it's also doing, and completed the list, move on, go on with the day. And I loved how this man was just saying, no, take 15 minutes every day, just 15 minutes. But don't come with a to-do list. Just come and enjoy God. What does that mean? Enjoy receiving from him. And so to me, as I've been thinking about it this week, like what does it look like to truly enjoy being with God? And in some ways, it's similar to enjoying being with people in my life that I love. It's just being physically with them and quiet and letting the conversation kind of go back and forth. And just basking in the love and receiving, kind of quieting myself enough and bringing questions to him. Like, Lord, how do you see me today? How do you see this situation that feels so big and overwhelming to me today? Like, what is your view of this difficult situation I'm in? And really just stopping and really trying to listen for his words and writing them down. And I did that earlier this week. And then I looked back as I was just sitting in my quiet time spot and happened to read over the journal. And it was like this super refreshing blessing of like, oh, that is what he said to me earlier this week. It was precious. And just encouraging what I needed to hear at that moment again. So yeah, to me, this week, it's just been those words. What does it mean to enjoy God today? And sometimes he'll take me to a scripture, and sometimes he'll take me to a song, and it's just letting that song wash over me, just the lyrics being a gift. And it's been in the car a lot, actually driving to work. I've got about a 20-minute drive. And when I drive on my own without my husband, I turn up the music really loud. And I've been listening to a playlist that we have created for the deepening weekend. And so I'm just letting those songs just wash over me, and they're absolutely amazing and new to me. So it's been really, really sweet. And the last thing I'll say is the fullness that I feel like Dana and Robin both talked about, like this expansiveness of my soul. And I remember ages ago saying, in those moments of soul rest, it feels like my soul goes from being 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. And it's like I've lived my life kind of like in all my doing, like it's like a robotic kind of cartoon. And it's in those moments that I'm like, I'm a real boy, or not like the Pinocchio moment of like, I've become real. So anyway, that is what it feels like to me. And refreshment was the word that came to me from the definition that you said, Sherry, of just, a lightness and a hope and a joy of just getting to be with God and just enjoy his enjoying of me.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's beautiful. I love that. His enjoying of you enjoying him.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. I love that each of you, right. It's like goes back and forth and back and forth. And I love how each of you talk about inviting, asking God, what do you have for me? God, what do you want to show me? What do you want to say to me? What do you have for me this morning? I love that. And my time outside looks a little bit different. And this is like my favorite time of year for this, actually, from now until probably November. And because I go outside every morning in those early morning hours when the sun is just starting to highlight different spaces in my yard, and seeing, it's like Christmas, seeing, oh my gosh, the lily of the valley is coming up. Oh my goodness, it's the hostas. The daffodils have been crazy beautiful, and the hellebore, and it feels like Christmas. It feels like Jesus is bringing me flowers every morning. And that just delights me, the way he romances me that way. And when right now everything's still a little brown over in the herb garden, but when you were talking about touching the tree, I think that's why I want to have more and more herbs, because I go out there and it's the lavender and just deep breath of lavender and sage and rosemary, and it's
Sensual.
it is so sensual. Between just the feel of all the different plants feel different, and they smell different, and it
Awakens.
and it expands, and it's just delight, pure delight. Yeah.
I love the word romance, Sherry. That really does resonate with me too. That's a time of entering into the romance.
Yeah, it really is. And it almost makes me laugh, because this happens every year, right? The daffodils start coming up in, late January every year. So it's not like it's something that hasn't happened before, but it's just, I don't know, it delights my heart every single time. And it's wild.
And you see new things each time. You see it newly. Just
my peonies are growing for some reason. They've not bloomed in the last couple of years, and they have been like front and center and out there.
And doesn't it speak to our hearts how we long for resurrection? And we need to be reminded over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is such a beautiful part of spring, right?
Yeah.
Life, resurrection life. Yeah, that gives us hope. Brings such hope.
Yeah. Okay, so that's in our day-to-day at home. So why go to the deepening weekend? Why go to a retreat? Why get away? How is that different? What do you think?
I know
I'll talk about that.
Oh, go ahead, Maggie.
Sure.
Ahead.
I was just going to say, for me, the deepening weekend helps to cut like the distraction, because it sets apart these little bits of time and gives you the questions to take in your time alone with God, and you're in a beautiful place. Hoping the weather's good, but it's just a sweet space where there's no distractions. Like there's no dishes calling my name, or toilets to clean, or kids calling me, or my phone. The Wi-Fi doesn't work. So like you're just unplugged, and you just don't have to fight for the attention. And it just feels like there's just this very special connectedness to God up there.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. We work really hard, don't we, to create an environment for that, for the women, for you all, for all of us to experience God in ways that are more difficult to do in the daily of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Maggie, like you said, I remember the first time I came away to a weekend like this. And the times alone with God, I had never done that before. I had never been invited to take questions just me and God. It wasn't a small group. It wasn't with anybody else, no talking. It was just me and God. And that felt really, at first a little awkward, but it also was kind of fun. Like, oh, wow, this is an interesting invitation, and I wonder what's going to happen. I was really curious.
What does this look like?
Yeah.
As you're sitting there asking a question and wondering, what does the answer look like? Yeah. Wonder what I'm going to get.
Wonder what I'm going to get. But yeah, that feels like there is some expansiveness available at the weekend, or the potential for our souls to expand a whole weekend provision for a whole weekend for that.
Yeah.
So
That's
love that we
awesome.
get to do that.
Thank you for joining us this month for our Around the Table conversation. Next month, we are going to be talking with the team about what it is like to lead the deepening weekend and how they find soul rest and maintain connection with the Lord, even in the midst of leading such a full and amazing weekend. If you enjoyed this video, would you take a moment to like it, share it, and subscribe to Zoweh's YouTube channel? See you next time.